And boom, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of After the Cook. You got my man, Titletown Griller, special guest right over here. We got Noam Weiss, the Trompo King. Everybody, he's got little Gabe in the house here. We're doing it, man. This is it. We're live. We're happening. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a great show. I've been very excited about this show.
I've been excited about this for a while.
I appreciate
cheers, everybody.
Yep, cheers.
I'll drink that.
I've been waiting to come on for a while. Love your show, and thank you for bringing us on.
Yeah, we've been super pumped to get you on here. We've been right on.
You guys are obviously down in sunny Florida, as we can see from the background there.
Oh yeah.
How warm is it?
Right now we're sitting at 73 degrees and about 100% humidity. It is cooking.
Yeah. Mel, how warm is it up by you? Warm, I use that term loosely.
I have to do the conversion. Give me 2 seconds here. It's minus 17. Hold on. So it's 62 point. Nope. Minus 17.
Nope.
Hold on.
Times 9 divided by 5, or
it's 1.4 degrees Celsius right now.
You mean Fahrenheit?
Does that sound right? 1.4?
1.4 Fahrenheit? Yeah, that sounds like it could be accurate.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, minus 17 is. What's that?
It sounds terrible, but yeah, it sounds accurate.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get used to it after a while, right? But like I was saying, like, why would you? Man, if it weren't for the wife, I would be sitting in the palm trees right behind Noam right now, is where I would be living, in a tent back there. Just whatever. But the wife, she wants to stick it out up here, man. And that's, like I've said to Captain Ron a million times, I swear, I will fall asleep at the pool every night. You won't even know I'm there. No big deal. Just
more than welcome.
This shoveling sidewalks, man, I'm done with it.
Yeah, I lived up north for a while. Went to colleges up in the Northeast and lived in New York City for about 6 years. And that's enough for me. I'm good. I'm happy down here.
Captain Ron just chimed in. He's like, Russia sends criminals to places like that to live. That's true. and like you were saying, people like, so where I work all the time since I was a kid, weather like this, and guys are out in their T-shirts and their coveralls are tied around their waist, and they're out playing ball hockey in the parking lot.
Jeez.
Like, this is just a normal thing because you get used to it, right? And it's like, I get it, but it sucks. Today, cooking a pork shoulder in my flippy floppies and my shorts, right? It's not fun. You do it because you're in it anyway, but it's not fantastic.
Well, it's actually really
Ron in the house.
When you're down here in South Florida, and let's say the weather drops to 65 degrees, everybody's in hoodies. The locals are. And then you head out to the beach, I'll go out fishing. And you know which ones are Canadians because they're in the little nut huggers trotting on the beach. And to me, that's cold.
Yeah.
The water temp is about 71 degrees. And these, these Canadians are just in little speedos running around like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Not me.
We've got lakes close to me that have never been 71 degrees. Like when it's super hot, they've never been that temperature. So and we're skinny dipping in there in the middle of summer. Like it's, so I can see that. That's awesome. We should dip in real quick and just say hi to everybody. We got Captain Ron in the house. We got Jer. Kimmy's in here. I've seen Steve Grant. Who else is in here? Just saying hi to everybody. Oh, Big Tuna, Madwood.
Good evening, everyone.
Awesome. Evening, everybody.
Sounds like we got a lot of the usual suspects.
Yeah. Oh, good time. Right on. So, Abe, come on now, little buddy. How you doing?
Good.
I'm so happy you're here.
All right.
So let's turn in.
let's think a little bit about Gabe.
What?
You're going to be how old?
13.
And you want to talk about your line of rub that you just came out, your seasoning?
So I came out with Euro seasoning, and it goes well with everything, but most things. And
all right, here's the background story. So I was in the kitchen mixing up some Al Pastor. So I'll give you a little history on the Al Pastor, but Gabe and Seth, Rue on the Q and Pit Boss Gabe, they came up to me and said, Dad, I got to have my own seasoning. You have a seasoning. I want a seasoning. So Mama wasn't happy. They destroyed the kitchen, but they found every spice they possibly could. Gabe's sitting there on Google looking up, Euro seasonings, Greek seasonings, he was crushing bay leaves together and grinding everything down. And he goes, I think I figured it out. And we tried it on a steak, and I'm like, yeah, did you write it down? What the ingredients are? He said, no. I said, you got to write it down. I got to get the co-packer. So about 2 hours later, he had everything written down, sent it out to the co-packer, sent me back a sample, and that's a wrap on the Euro seasoning. So
really
fantastic job, and I know it's been selling real well over at Smokeware. We have a good partnership with Smokeware, and it's selling really well. And I know people have given them some really good feedback on the seasoning, and I think we're good. There's the Big Paul. There we go. He used it the other night, and his wife is Greek, and she said this is amazing. So we're real happy.
So how long did it take to come together?
How long did it take for the formula or the recipe?
Yeah, for Gabe to whip this up.
What would it take you? 2 hours? 3 hours?
like 5.
5 hours.
Ridiculous.
He liked more of the bay leaf flavor, and I agreed with that. So he was crushing more bay leaves normally than what a Euro seasoning contains. And actually, it worked really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, great job, Gabe.
Going back to the Al Pastor story real quick. So Gabe and I are in Mexico 3.5 years ago. And we just couldn't get enough of tacos Al Pastor. I mean, we're hitting every little stand, every little hole in the wall, grabbing some Al Pastor. And we finally, after eating, 2 days over there, we had 15, 16, maybe 20 tacos Al Pastor street food. We're like, this one's the best. We're like, there's something in this that I don't know what they put. So I go to the owner, I have my Google Translate because I don't speak Spanish. I should speak Spanish living in South Florida, but I don't. And I said, what's your recipe? And the lady goes, well, hold on, let me get someone that can help you. So Grandma came out, and I said, what's the recipe? And she goes, I can't tell you. She spoke a little bit of English, but she goes, I know someone who will tell you the recipe. And her mother came out. So it was the great-grandmother that actually was in the back making the seasoning. And I gave her $50 and she wrote it down for me. And
nice.
Brought it to the co-packer. And this is the great-grandmother's recipe from Mexico City that goes back over 100 years. Now, for me, I'm not a big cinnamon fan on meat. But when it cooks, and when you stack it on the Trompo King, it just gets down to a very, very slight hint of cinnamon, which gave it that it stood out from all the other Al Pastors.
Okay, so on my notes from today, 2 things I was going to say about the Al Pastor. One, it's my favorite recipe. I mean, I've done tacos Al Pastor are my favorite food. That's how I judge Mexican food in their restaurant. It's got to be, how's their Al Pastor, and then how's their chips and salsa that you get on the table. That's it. That's all I will go by. That's all I judge them on. That's all they have. So I've tried a bunch of different ways on trying to recreate the El Pastor at home. And, I looked up recipes where you buy a chote paste, you're grinding that up, you're making that to get that deep red color. Nothing compares to your seasoning. I mean, it's been fantastic. And one of my favorite parts of it is that little bit of cinnamon that you get at that very end. Like, to me, that's what kind of gives it that authentic flavor. When you add that little bit of pineapple in with it, and you get the crispy edges off the Trompo King, and I have the picture that'll pop up later. I mean, it's just, there was nothing like that when I made that the other day.
Well, no, I really appreciate you saying that. And, part of buying the Al Pastor seasoning, you don't have to source 18 different ingredients. Now, people in Utah, individuals in Utah can't get guajillo peppers. That's part of this. And all you have to do is mix this with a little bit of orange juice, and you got yourself the recipe. This is great grandma's recipe. So, I'm really fortunate that she was able to share that with me. And, she probably said, look at this gringo, another one, or whatever she said. I know it was funny and it was probably derogatory, but you know what? She got her $50. She was happy.
Yeah.
She
probably said, look at this guapo. Yeah, that's what she said. Look at this guapo. That's the one. That's the. I tell you what, man, that Al Pastor, I told you this the minute I tasted it after I cooked it down, crispy caramelized edges, seared that chicken, done it up right. My editor, my audio video guy, he was here. We made some tacos. He's like, dish me up another one. And he never does that. I'm briskets. I'm pulled pork all the time. He's there in the zone. Every time I'm in the zone, he's recording it. And he gets everything right off the grill. And all of a sudden he's like, dish me up another one. I was like, what? What are you talking? Because he's always on a diet. He's one of them weird guys, right? So, right. And straight up, he's like, that is one of the best. I do the fajita, taco-y, burrito, because we're Canadian. We don't understand that they're different. It's like if there's a wrap and meat, then it's like a taco, burrito, whatever. So we did that. And he asked for a seconds right away. And then he texted me later because I gave him a bag to take to his dad's because I cooked 30 chicken breasts all diced up on that. And he's like, even my dad says that's some of the best chicken we've ever had. And I was blown away because we've thrown everything at him because he's right in the trenches with us when we're cooking, right? So for him to just up and say that, I was like, wow,
that's
you
awesome.
Guys are onto something. Yeah, you guys are onto something big. And cinnamon or not, right? Some people might not. That's like cilantro. Get out of here. It is what it is. I have had my mouth washed out with soap my entire life. Doesn't matter.
Well, I
love cilantro.
I like cinnamon, but not on meat. It never belonged on meat until we tried it, and that was the missing ingredient that was in all the street food of Mexico. Old Grandma Abuela, threw some cinnamon in there to make it different. I'm like, that's the one. That's what sealed the deal for me.
Oh, it's a huge hit, man. Huge hit.
Thank you.
My first experience with Tacos El Pastor, I was freshman in high school. For church, we went down to Tijuana and we built a couple of houses for people who didn't have houses. And they were just like 10% houses.
Not the donkey show.
No. Yeah, the church one like
that's right. You said church. Okay, got it. My bad.
But the first night where we would stay at an old orphanage, and that's where we'd stay, and we would leave from there. But the first night they took us out to this real taco stand where they had the big Trumpo set up, and they were cutting them down. And I swear I must have had about 10 tacos. Other people are having one or two tacos, and they may have been sick for a couple of days afterwards. I was just pounding tacos like it was nothing else. And then from that standpoint on, it was just nothing can beat that El Pastor. That's one of just the most perfect foods.
You have that whole row in Tijuana coming back to the U.S. Street vendors, and they have anything from raw goat's milk to the big trompos with all sorts of meat on it. And that was my favorite coming back, drinking in Tijuana. Coming back and just you hit all the street food. Yeah, you feel like crap the next day, but oh my God, it's like the best food in the world. And I love street food. And that brings me to shawarma. In the Middle East, the Trompo King, the Tacos Al Pastor is also a shawarma with different seasoning, and obviously they don't use pork there, so you're going to get a beef or a chicken. Yep. Sometimes camel. I've seen camel on a spit before.
Okay.
very unique, and it's seasoned really well. I didn't care for it, a little gamey for my flavor, but being from Israel, I grew up on shawarma, and the shawarma has a big story going over to Mexico City, and it became al pastor. When the Lebanese actually went to Mexico City, and they're like, well, we need our shawarma, but we only have pigs, so let's run it, and we'll change the flavor a little bit, but we'll create it the same way. And vertical cooking has been around, forever. Since man started, is vertical cooking. You stack it up and you cook your meat. And it was only in the recent 50 years that the barbecue makers of the barbecue grills decided, well, let's turn it from this way. Let's do it this way, and let's put your meat flat and see how that works. So for me, vertical cooking is the way to go.
Wow. So I want to get into the story of the Trompo King and how you did that, but before we do, I got to ask that little guy to your left a few more questions.
What's up?
All right, so Pitmaster Gabe, I've been watching you on Instagram. If you guys aren't following him on Instagram, you should. The real deal. He's throwing down some pretty awesome barbecue. So I got to ask you, what's your favorite thing to cook? What's your specialty? If you're 13 now, say when you're, in a few years when you want to have a lady friend over, you want to impress her, what are you going to cook for her?
Brisket.
Right for the brisket, huh?
That's it right there.
Bravo.
That is fantastic. And what's your favorite?
Save the picanha for when you're married.
What's your favorite way to cook brisket?
What?
What's your favorite way to cook your brisket?
How do you cook your brisket? What vessel? What do you like to use the best?
The green egg.
Good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Are you low and slow, or do you do it hot and fast? That's a
Low and slow.
Yeah.
low and slow. You're on Team Mel.
No.
Although this is one of those ways where I think Mel goes both ways.
Mel just wait.
Another one. Yeah.
Wait for his food to be done. I know that. He likes to turbo cook his butt. I do. I like my butts turboed. I hot and fast on the butts, but when it comes to the brisket, I like it low and slow, and that's the way our family always preferred it. I've done it both ways.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to do pork butts low and slow anymore. Brisket, yeah, I'll do them both ways. I've done them both ways, but
I love slow. I've done it both ways.
Yeah,
Get
I don't
the feedback there.
Brisket, yeah, I'll do them both.
Quit it, Chris. What are you doing, Chris?
I'm trying to start this on Facebook, and I've actually clicked on the video, and I'm hearing us talk about 5 seconds behind us. There we go. I got it off.
That's it.
I can see who's
You know
on.
what? I've been watching Lost lately now that I'm in quarantine. Don't mess with the system. Don't do it. That's it.
Sharing,
That's it.
sharing
So-
to a couple other groups.
In the house.
Oh.
Say hi, Uncle Mo.
Oh, okay, we'll see if that works. I wanted to see if Facebook likes it this way or not. We'll see. I should stop clicking on stuff. So some of the videos that Gabe will throw out, he'll show you some steak videos. He has a very interesting way of lighting his grill too. He doesn't mess around. Why don't you tell us about that?
Flamethrower.
Not a flamethrower. Elon Musk.
That's not a flamethrower.
Not a flamethrower.
Not a flamethrower.
There you go.
We saw Uncle Mel had to go out the next day and go get one too.
That's it. That's it. That thing is a beaut, let me tell you. Like that, as soon as he sent me that fire in the hole, I put it on my highlights like right away. That was so deadly, man. As soon as I saw that, I was like, you're going places, kid. We all got our eyes on you. Don't worry about that. You're going places. It's awesome. So awesome.
Well, here's the backstory. I don't know if Mama watched it. Okay, here's the backstory on it. I wanted this not a flamethrower. The Boring Company came out. That's Elon Musk's company from Tesla. He's like, hey, I'm only selling 10,000 of these. And I was like, I got to buy this right now. I need a flamethrower. I absolutely have to have a flamethrower. And I'm like, how are we going to explain this to Mama? He goes, it's to light the grill. We're good. It's for the Trompo King. We're good. And that was it. Mom was good.
It's a business investment.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that kid's gonna be golden. He's got it all figured out.
That's all you need. That's all you need right there. A partner in crime, you're done. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we're on the queue. He's a little shy. Seth doesn't like to come out, but I'm just gonna plug his seasoning. He loves shawarma, and he came out with his. He was in the kitchen as well, and he's more methodical than Gabe. He likes to really think things out. Not saying that Gabe doesn't, but he's 30 renditions later, and he finally came up with what he liked in the shawarma. So that's also available at Smokeware, or you just go to TROMPOKING.com. It links you right there.
So that shawarma seasoning, that's going to be a little bit better on. I think Ruth said it was better on pork and chicken, but you can also put it on steak.
We actually just, we announced the Trompo ring by Trompo King, so it's vertical way to hang the meat and put it on the on the Kamado style cookers, and we actually rubbed it some delicious steaks with the shawarma seasoning, and it came out fantastic. You get that nice char, all the goodies that he put in here. You get that amazing char that comes on it, and I was really pleased with the way it came out.
I bet you that'd be actually pretty good on some picanha there, Mel.
Oh yeah, no, I've got some plans for sure. The gentleman that I always deal with, I don't know if you guys know this, but the shawarma, the gyro, the gyro, the donair, right? It's all these things are all different and tied together. So the shawarma with the beautiful kebab, right? And they're shaving them off. I can't wait. I'm so pumped. The three flavor profiles that you hit them out of the park. Like it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And just like you and your boys, right? That's a tripod right there. You got, come on. Hey, I met the whole clan, right? At Oktoberfest. That was amazing. You guys just out of nowhere, boom. I was like, what? Everybody right there all at once, even Mama, right? Oh, blessed. Absolutely blessed. It was an amazing night. It was awesome.
That was a fantastic.
You've done it right, man. You've done it right with the Trompo. You've done it right with the seasonings. You've done it right with the boys, the wife, everybody. Congratulations, man. I
really
absolutely love it.
Do we have a garlic sauce recipe? No, not yet. No, we're still working on it. So we'll get there. And we got the Trompo ring coming. We have more gadgets coming. And Trompo King was really, I can't say a mistake, but I didn't want to run another company. It was one of those things where I like Al Pastor. We all love Al Pastor. We like shawarma. We like vertically cooking things. And there wasn't anything out there other than an onion base and bamboo skewers. Yep. So every time I'd go put it on the egg, I'd open it up and boom, the whole thing was on its side. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. There's got to be a better way. And I've seen I think they're called gaucho skewers that they use in Brazil. Yep. And it was something with a base, but then it didn't have a base. It just had a skewer that went up. So you had to bring your own base in, and then it didn't work out. So I said, there's really has to be something better out there. So I went to a machine shop that's not too far from me. And this is the actual very first prototype. Okay. So it's a tacked up stainless steel. They tacked it on the sides, and then they tacked in a bolt right there. And then I made and that was it. And I posted this on Instagram or Facebook or one of the social media sites, and everybody's like, well, where can I get one? That's awesome. You have the pan, you collect all the juices, you got a spike, you're good to go. And it started from there.
Yeah.
So it kind of paved the way, for us to come out with more items, like the seasoning. And now we have the Trompo ring, and we have the Trompo grate, and we have all sorts of things. And we're going to get into other barbecue items. We are going to go. We're seeking what's out there. We're going to take things that are out there in the marketplace and make them 10 times better. Because there's a lot of shit that I buy out there that sucks, and there's a lot of good shit out there.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I'm a kid in a candy store. When I go to, you know, Ace Hardware, I see a whole wall full of accessories. I'm like, take my money. I'll buy everything. And again, I only end up using 2 or 3 things because the other things are just crap.
Yep.
So we're gonna create and innovate, and we've paved the path. Now we have, you know, our distributor, which is Smokeware, and we have our distributor in Canada, Dixon. Robert, what a great guy. You know, that whole company, that operation. Fantastic company. Same with Smokeware.
Yep.
And you know, we're in the UK, so we have a dealer in the UK for Trompo King, and it's just paving the path for the next, you know, 10 items, 15 items, not necessarily Trompo style, but it's going to pave the path for more things. And, you know, it lets the kids innovate. It lets the next generation come up with ideas that they could set a path forward to and learn that entrepreneurial spirit that I have.
Yep.
You want to say anything before you homework? No, you good?
No, I'm good.
All right. Have a good night.
Well, hey, Gabe, thanks for coming on. Good seeing you, buddy. Everybody follow him. He's Pit Boss Gabe on Instagram. He's the real deal. Good stuff.
Love that little homie, man. Love him. He's adorable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how much fun is it to be able to create and do this stuff with your kids, you know, with your family, to be able to pass that on?
So this generation of kids, you know, after the millennials,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 10, 12, 13, 14-year-olds, they don't know shit about cooking. They can't work their way around the kitchen. All they know is their phone to order food. And I said, fuck that. My kids are going to learn how to cook. Whether it's a steak, you know, go fry yourself some eggs in the kitchen. You're not relying on delivery all the time. It doesn't work that way. So, you know, I'm not raising 10 and 12-year-olds. I'm teaching them how to be adults.
Mm-hmm.
So if Gabe knows how to cook a steak, which he does, he learns which is a gentleman's drink, and he does some card magic, which he's really good at his card magic, he's set for college.
What's a gentleman's drink?
You know, Don Sueños, you know, neat. So there's certain aspects to carry yourself in life.
You know, and I think we all learn our tequila lesson at some point in college.
Well, that's the college tequila. That's not Don Sueños tequila.
Exactly.
Difference. Oh, I had my shot at Cuervo back in the day, and
well, I don't even think it was Cuervo. I don't even think it was that high. I think it was lower.
Yeah.
There are three or four different bottles that Mel's not allowed to touch, and tequila's one of them. Unless there's a time and a place for it. If the wife's around, probably not going to happen. That's I love it. I absolutely love it.
Tequila is the only stimulant alcohol out there. The rest are depressants, and then the agave. You know, everything I've learned over tequila over the last 3 years, more than I would ever in my lifetime learn about tequila. But yeah, it's actually a stimulant. It's not a depressant like you know, any of the others out there. But you know, I've never, after college, I've never been a big drinker. That's never been my thing after that. And if you know, I was more of a Scotch, a single malt Scotch. You know, Talisker is my go-to. I have a beautiful bottle of a 50-year Talisker that's on my desk from a client, and yeah, I'll tap it here and there. But it's never been my thing. But I was always a Scotch drinker, and the Don Sueños tequila, the Añejo, is aged in white oak, so it captures the essence of, you know, your Scotch, your brandy, your
Bourbon. Yeah,
bourbon. Yeah, absolutely.
that's awesome.
That is, and you saying that's all I need. I might switch back to tequila forever now.
How many more kids do you want?
That's it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, this is, the wife won't let Jaeger back in the house. She won't. If we have a barbecue pre-COVID, right? we have a barbecue and people are bringing stuff in, and she sees someone trying to sneak one through, she'll grab it out in the flower bed. That's it. Like, it doesn't even make it in the house. Because that's all you need is like an Uncle Mel party on your hands, and that's autopilot sets in. I'm good. I'm ready to go. That's
so when you come to South Florida and we do our Guapo video, I'll make sure there's chilled Jaeger for everyone.
Done. That's it. That's gonna be nuts, man. That is work. That's done. It's gonna be so badass.
I think I learned my Jaeger lesson much harder than my tequila lesson. We had way too many Jaeger bombs in college.
Do you remember Goldschlager back in the day?
Okay.
Yes.
We had a, up Titletown Grill. I'm up in Green Bay. My buddies and I, huge Packer fans, huge Brett Favre fans. That's when I was in college. We had this life-size cardboard cutout of Favre in our house that we lived in, and we had a Brett Favre shot, which was 50% Goldschlager, 50% Rumpelmans. It's the green and gold. And we had this whole thing that we had to do. Like, we all got our shots, like when he would throw a touchdown, and we would have to say BRETTFAVRE, MVP, 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 because he had 3 MVPs. We all made the 4, and the 4s had the kiss, they had a touch, do the shot, and then point to the cutout. Don't know why we did this, but we did this. That was a terrible shot.
That hurts.
Didn't even mint.
It's not how it goes down and how it comes back out, and that's the problem with Goldschlager.
See, that's the Ukrainian side of me. We're not pukers. If we paid for it, it's staying in. Whatever the cost, right? 3 a.m. with a donair the size of a football. I don't care. It's staying in. We're putting weight on it now. Like, it's staying in. That's but that's like, as soon as Titletown said that, right away I'm thinking, does your Jaeger story have rubber bullets as well? Because that's yeah, exactly. I'm just saying.
Going back to your Ukrainian roots, though, remember how we're going back and forth with the pierogies and everything. We have everything pickled. So just recently, my brother and I found out that my grandmother was actually Ukrainian. And it's kind of odd to say, well, how did you just find out? You're in your 40s. You just found out that, grandma's Ukrainian. Well, she passed away 2 years ago. And we found, she was in the Holocaust in World War II. And she actually made a video with Steven Spielberg giving her story about the Holocaust. She never shared it with the family. We never knew about it. So we found this video from 1991, and she told the whole story. She was in Ukraine. She was born and raised in Ukraine, and we found out that she was there for quite some time until the war broke out, and then she got exiled out to Russia, and then to Germany. Wow. So it was pretty interesting story. But the food and the memories that she has from her family, she makes the pierogies with spit. It grossed me out, but that's what she said in her video, and then everything that she made, from the sausages to the potato, the crepes and everything. I was wondering, that's Eastern European, but all the roots were, all the signs were there that were Ukrainian, Russian, Ukrainian, Polish. So I've always had, I try to go back to those roots as well. I stuff my pierogies not with the potatoes, but with brisket and Five Monkeys barbecue sauce.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
yep.
We change it up, but I take the old world cooking, because I was always in the kitchen with grandma and my mom watching how they made things, and change it up a little bit.
Are you still stealing them with spit?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm a germaphobe. Everybody who knows me, I'm in my world right now.
I do have to say, though, there is an art to the pinch and twist. And you have to have it. Because if those things pop open, right? If 2 pop open, there's 10,000 down the line that are probably going to do the same.
Absolutely.
And that's a real issue. So every single one has to be as good as its counterpart.
Has to be pinched perfectly. If not, you got the wooden spoon behind you. I remember that thing.
I snapped a wooden spoon once, and then she went to Zellers. She went to Zellers and bought one that she could bend.
Oh,
And
those
then it
things-
was done. I behaved after that. That was it.
Yeah.
You got a spoon that can touch the handle? I'm good.
Oh.
I promise I'll never do it again. That's it.
Yeah, I had the one that broke, and I laughed when it broke, and that's not a good.
I still get the, I'm still traumatized by that spoon, the wooden spoon. I got a quick story for you. So I think I was home from college, and I called up Grandma and said, hey, I'm staying with you guys for, a couple days. I'm flying in. Let me crash with you guys for a couple days. And I was meeting up with some friends, and I got trashed. I was destroyed. I don't know what we were drinking all night. Went out with my cousins, my brother, and we were just, I didn't remember coming home. And I woke up, and my back was stinging. My back was on fire. I don't know if I, laid into a cactus. I don't know what happened, but I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, I see all these welt marks on my back. And I go, I come out of the room. I'm like, Grandma, what happened? She goes, you and your friends came in here last night. You were naked, running around the house. I didn't know what to do. So I took my wooden spoon and I beat the crap out of you until you passed out. And I'm like, all right, well, there's the story.
That makes sense.
That's Grandma. So
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's. I love it.
I
I absolutely love it.
maybe I pulled my back out of I don't know. I looked in the mirror and it hurt.
You're sleeping on your stomach for a few days.
Whew. That will never end.
So we had a couple of people in Canada ask where they can get Trompo Kings from up there.
So Dixon Barbecue,
Dixon's.
Dixon, yep, is our distributor up in Canada. They ship anywhere in Canada. They're in Toronto.
Okay.
They have a couple locations in Toronto.
And they can get that online too?
Yeah, you can go. Actually, it's on Amazon Canada, Amazon.ca, and we're up there in Amazon. That's through Dixon's, and he has a great showroom. If you guys are ever in Toronto, I missed the smoke show last year. I keep looking behind me because we do have animals that run back here, and there's a red-tailed fox or whatever they're called that's been annoying the heck out of me lately.
Not cougars or anything?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. We have an otter that runs through here. That's pretty cool. He's friendly.
Can they get the seasonings from Dixon's and on Amazon too?
Okay, so just the Trompo King itself is on Amazon. Dixon, just yesterday, all the seasonings just landed in their warehouse.
Oh, perfect.
So they have the Al Pastor, they have the shawarma, they have the gyro, they have the Trompo King, they have the gloves. I believe he's going to order the grate, and he has the 4 spikes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an awesome setup. Like I said, I've been waiting to try the shawarma. That's going to be on my my list very soon. But as we already talked about, the El Pastor has been fantastic. My other one that I've done was the gyro seasoning, which is my first cook, which we did chicken gyros, and I piled that high on the Trumpo, and I absolutely love that. That was just fantastic. And the best part about that is that it makes so much, right? So I had, I loaded up a ton of chicken breasts that I cut in half, so I made them a little bit thinner, loaded them up on the Trompo, and cooked them that way. And we, shaved off the outside and had some really awesome actual gyros that we made that night. But I had 2 packages which I froze. So, things get kind of crazy at work some nights, and my wife's not she's not really into cooking. So what I have her do sometimes is just, she pulled out, I think just last week, she pulled out one of those packs of the already made chicken gyros, pulled that out. We just made some quick salads with it, and it was fantastic. And she's my biggest critic. She took the first bite of her salad and was like, "Oh, I like these flavors." Yeah. I'm like, the first I heard her say, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh shit, what's wrong now?" She's like, "No, I like these flavors. This is perfect." So I mean, that's right on. So Trompo King and Smokeware have teamed up recently that I saw for a new collaboration, merchandise. I don't know the best way to pull it. Mel, do you want to pull in our second guest who's going to make a quick appearance?
Yep. Are we ready to go, Paul? We ready to go?
All right.
There he is.
Guapo? Something? Guapo?
Oh, guapo. I'm guapo.
El Guapo. That's my shit. That's my shit. Come on. That's
You're fire in the hole. Come on.
love it. I love it. I love it. Paul, how you doing, my man?
I'm not the only one that walks past the spice cabinet and has to dip a finger in every once in a while, right? Because like I'm sitting here, listen, I'm busting out the shawarma, I'm busting out the
There we
gyro.
go.
We got some El Pastor. It's a party at my table.
Love it.
So
Love it.
we have you on real quick, Paul. This is Big Paul on the Grill, another BG Team Green member. A great follow for everybody on Instagram. I'm going to pull up a picture on my screen, so you're not going to be seeing my beautiful face for a little bit. But why don't you guys tell us a little bit about this limited edition collaboration we have going on?
Yeah, I mean, let me jump in for a quick second because I have a few words I need to say to the man down there in Florida. So, this whole barbecue community and family just blows my mind, right? I mean, I was less than 1,000 followers, maybe 500 followers last Oktoberfest. I showed up like fanboying all over the place. Like, oh my God, it's Dark Side of the Grill over there. And it's Captain Ron over there. And I mean, I felt like I had to go around and run and get everybody's autograph. And I missed Chris, and I was on the plane on the way home, and I get a note from Chris saying, hey, I missed, meeting you there, but I saw you and I saw your shirt and I looked you up. And I still remember that note, Chris, that you sent me talking about how you were a pediatric nurse and how, the foundation really touched you. And then, Noam, I met Noam really following Captain Ron and watching Ron cook on the Trompo King. And I'm like, what is that? And I asked for that for my Christmas gift last year. So my Christmas gift for my family last year was a Trompo King for the throw on the egg. Never in a million years did I think I'll meet that guy one day or I'll know him. And, we did our foundation event this year in September with COVID. We normally do an in-person golf outing every year. This year we had to pivot and we did an online auction. And Noam went into the auction, spending like he was buying not a flamethrower, and got himself a fantastic new grill for the backyard over there. And then he shot me a note to give him a call. And, no, I don't want to put you on the spot. I just want to tell you how grateful I am. He called me up and he's like, listen, I have an idea and I want that foundation plastered on every grill in America and we're going to make it happen. And I literally a tear was brought to my eye and he sent me some prototype, to look at online, some pictures of some designs. And, last week hit me with, here it is. It's the final thing, and it's going up on Smokeware, and all the profits are going to go to the Pauly Strong Foundation to raise money for childhood cancer, which we spend our life doing. And in honor of this little guy behind me, who I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make proud. And I couldn't be more grateful, and we're absolutely honored and blown away by the help, by the support, by the idea. So thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for the kind words. I mean, that's just the start of what we're going to do. Your story, your foundation, really touches me. And man, sorry what you and your family had to go through. No family should have to go through that. And making a temp gauge for your foundation is the very least, in the barbecue family that we can do. So you're welcome. I love watching you and Jules cook. You guys are an amazing team. And, my mom, I went through, cancer with my mom. And, for the last 20 years, the meat and potatoes of, my bread and butter basically is helping cancer victims get funding for alternate treatment. That's what I do. That's my 9 to 5. And it's a financial instrument that's used. It's called a viatical settlement or life settlement. And, I started the company when I was 24 years old, and I'm here to help. And we've helped hundreds of thousands of people do that. And, Paul, you've gone through a lot. So No need to thank me. Just, I appreciate you being a barbecue brother.
Dude, I can't tell you the emotional roller coaster it's been over the last 5 years. I mean, we're in the thick of it right now. It was 5 years ago right now that we were going through this battle, and I went from a healthy 10-year-old kid to passing away on January 5th, and it'll be 5 years this January. And just to know that when I saw the people click the number of clicks on my link tree to the smokeware site and how many people shared it out, and it's heartbreaking, right, to think about the fact that my little man, my best friend, my firstborn, isn't here anymore, right? And that's tough. And to know that there's people out there like you guys that care enough about spreading the story and making a difference. Childhood cancer is so vastly underfunded that less than 4% of all cancer research funding goes to support kids. And if that was different, maybe my little guy would have had a different outcome and would still be here cooking with me on the egg, hanging with Jules and I, and my other daughter, Edie, and my wife, Joanna. And, it's bittersweet to know that his name, right, and a logo to support childhood cancer is going to be spread out there throughout the world on different people's cookers, which are going to help to spread awareness. I mean, people see the handles that I have on my egg, and I get asked all the time, what does that mean? What does it mean when, on your shirt, on your hat? I've got it on my arm over here somewhere and on my shoulder, and it's awareness. And that's the key. Not everybody needs to throw money at the problem. That's fantastic, and donations are great. But it's the awareness. I mean, we had no idea before we were thrust into this world how many kids got cancer every year. That 36 kids every day get cancer. That 7 kids die every day. I had no idea. And I certainly never expected that was going to be my kid or that was going to be our life. So, we could have put our heads down and buried our heads in the sand, but, we put this foundation together in his honor to keep things going and to change the world in his honor, to make it a better place for future kids who get diagnosed. And it seems minor on some levels, right? It's a temp gauge, right? But it means so much more because it's going to be out there and people are going to see it and people are going to go, what is that? And they're going to search up what is that hashtag Polystrong Foundation. And you know what? They will make donations, and if they don't, they'll be aware of this. And if it helps them to be aware and to look at different symptoms that may be affecting their children, it's made an impact. So, guys, thank you for letting me come on. I don't want to take any time away from this. Is your guys' show. This is Noam. You guys are doing a fantastic thing. I'm just grateful to be part of this for a few minutes and to be able to express my gratitude, man, because it means more to me than you'll ever know.
Well, you're very welcome. Why don't you stay on for a little bit longer if you can? You got some good stories for us.
Sure. Jules is pissed at me right now because it's past her bedtime. It's past my bedtime, but I put my wife put her to bed upstairs. So, but it's cool.
Completely up to them, but
yeah.
Hey Mel, can you see where I shared my screen on there? Are you able to swap that out? Are you able to swap that out for me? Oh,
there we go.
There we go. So here's a picture of Paulie himself. And the amazing temperature gauges that are put out there. And, I instantly felt this connection with Paul. I spent my first 6 years being a nurse working on the pediatric oncology for a children's hospital. So I can't pretend to understand what you've been through. I was never on that side of things. I've seen it. But to me, this is the perfect cause to complete my grill, for me. When I saw this instantly, I'm like, all right, click on it. I've seen some cool temperature gauges. That Sweetwater 421 was kind of cool with the tie-dye. Actually, Smokeware had a cool Santa one that I actually kind of thought was pretty cool. And some USA ones. But when I saw that one, I'm like, done. This is perfect. Pediatric oncology and that, cancer research, the golden ribbon, September, that's a huge cause that I want to support. And, I think it's amazing what, Noam, Trompo King, Smokeware, and, with the collaboration with the great work that Polystrong is doing, it's fantastic. This isn't the type of way that, it was supposed to go down, but it's a hell of a way to, honor your son. And every time people all over the world now will be firing up their grill and, honoring him in that way, that's pretty damn awesome.
I mean, I look at my temperature gauge more than I do than my meat. I want to be able to see it every single time.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Guys, buy them up, sell them out. We'll get another round going.
So, what an awesome
Yep.
company, what an awesome thing. Let's segue into something a little more uplifting. I mean, although it is as uplifting as it can be, that's the barbecue fam. But Paul, what was the first thing you cooked on your Trompo King?
Oh, I went al pastor right away. I went al pastor right away. I've done out, with my wife being Greek, as I heard Noam mention early, she's the typical critic when it comes to, wives and food, right? And she's eaten a lot of bad meals as I've found my way in this niche that I love so much. But trying to tackle, ethnic foods that are in her background and in her culture, it's tough to do. And so we got the gyro seasoning as soon as it came out. I jumped on that. I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make her some Greek gyros. And I did put her on the spot. I said, listen, you have to give an honest review, an absolute honest review. And I want it on video because I'm sending this to the 13-year-old inventor who created this with you in mind as the consumer. And she absolutely loved it. I mean, I did a Thanksgiving turkey breast on my Trompo King this year, and it came out fantastic.
Nice.
I thought of that, but I didn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah, we did. My wife over smoked turkey and smoked chicken, so she did her traditional mom's recipe, oven roasted in the oven, fantastic. But it wasn't going to stop me from going outside and firing up the egg. So I did spatchcock turkey that I delivered to the Scarsdale Police Department here where I live, who's a big supporter of our foundation, and fed the officers who were on duty that day. And then I said, I need an extra bunch of turkey breast leftovers for the rest of the week. So I did a whole turkey breast. I said, let's just stick it on the Trompo King, get the juices rolling. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of turkeys done on the Trompo King. George from Five Monkeys Barbecue Sauce did one last year, and oh my goodness, this was unbelievable. You guys ever tried Five Monkeys Barbecue Sauce?
I love it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I got the whole lineup from Dixon's. It was amazing. Amazing stuff.
I haven't tried the whiskey one yet. How is that?
It's you can drink it.
My second favorite.
Okay.
So what's your favorite?
I like the original.
The original's great.
I like the.
That's the orange bottle, right?
Yeah.
They're all orange. They just have a different label on it.
Okay.
But he does have the chili one and then the whiskey one, and you might see. Nah, maybe you won't. I was going to say collaboration, but he's working on something.
All right.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
That was
Paul,
the first
Paul, I have to ask you.
Yeah.
When you're talking about like true traditional foods with the wife,
Yep.
have you ever opened like a pot full of soup to find a bunch of fish heads looking at you?
No.
Because that is the best Greek food I've ever eaten has eyes staring at you all the time.
So here's the deal, Mel. So being a Puerto Rican Irishman from the Bronx, right, which is my background, and my wife being half Greek, half Puerto Rican, her mom's Puerto Rican and married a Greek and learned how to make traditional Greek cooking just as good as a Greek yaya would be able to make. And it's fantastic. But I had never even eaten Greek food before I met my wife. I never had a gyro in my life. Gyro. I'm gonna get smacked if I call it a gyro, but I've never had one in my life. And I dove in head first. I love absolutely everything. The only thing I can't handle is the lamb on Easter on the giant spit in my brother-in-law's yard, rolling over and over, looking like the dog. And all the old school Greek guys are over picking off the face and the eyeballs, and I'm just like, give me some seasoned up lamb chops and I'm in, but I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Jerk. So I have a place in Miami. My guy Gregorios from Mykonos, he creates this event, this absolute event. So my friend Charlie Sheen and I and a couple of my partners were down in Miami, and this guy's tossing plates everywhere. And he brings out this jumbo octopus, and we're eating shit. Like, I'm scooping my fingers in the fish, in the eyes of the fish. And he's like, you got to try. And if I don't, I'm insulting this guy. Okay. He's 400 pounds. He's moving his weight around the whole room. And he scoops, and I'm a germaphobe. Okay. I could eat an eyeball, but not off someone else's fingers. So he scoops this fucking eyeball in the middle of the table. And I have people, everybody's watching. And if I don't eat this thing, I'm in trouble. And I ate the thing. I lived, but I remember that.
Enjoy it.
Quickly in the bathroom and had some Purell.
But I don't know where his fingers have been. That's my problem. He's shaking hands. He's doing all sorts of shit, and then scoops the eyeball out. Come on.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But your kid attest.
Well, more sanitary than if you had to eat it off of Charlie Sheen's fingers. I'm just saying.
It wasn't Charlie's finger. I don't know where that's been either.
Yeah, I love it so much. I love it so much.
But I love Greek. Puerto Rican food. Let me tell you something.
I'm a huge fan of like authentic Greek food. I don't care what kind of surprises are under this lid or whatever. I'm down. I know the flavor's there. I know the heart is there. This is a low and slow, whatever it is. It's right. A lot like Jewish food. Jewish food, there's nothing fast. There's nothing fast in Jewish food. Everything it's going to take your time. It's going to, whatever it is, you got all day. It's awesome. Like, it's everything you eat is going to be fantastic. That's a good point. But it's creepy. Sometimes it's creepy. And I like creepy food. I love creepy food. It's very, the heart is in it, which is fantastic. I love it. I
never had octopus before I met my wife, and had then I'm watching this guy stick an octopus inside of a turkey, inside of a goat, or whatever. I mean, it looks fantastic.
And then he's playing with it on the Star Wars figure.
Last year, I took the family. We went to Old San Juan, Puerto Rico, and let me tell you something. The food, the mofongo, I believe that's unbelievable. I love food. I mean, any type of food. There's certain foods that I don't like, but the foods like mofongo, unbelievable.
So you're talking the proper mofongo that was in that tall motor and pestle where they.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The best barbecue joints in the world is in Puerto Rico. In Fajardo, Puerto Rico, there's a new guy that owns a restaurant that's a converted gas station. And he does whole pig roasts and briskets and pork shoulders, but he does the most amazing mofongo with fresh spiny tail lobsters that just come right out of the ocean. Whatever the fresh seafood is of the day that comes up, they just throw it in there with a shit ton of garlic and the plantains and make the most amazing. But they call themselves New Yorican Barbecue. And I mean, wow! The first time I ever had a bacon wrapped hot dog was from the guy down in in the middle. I had to go all the way to Puerto Rico to find it. But
we before COVID, I like to travel with my family. We love the Caribbean and the West Indies. We go down there and we have a blast. One of my favorite islands is St. Kitts. If you guys ever get a chance, go to St. Kitts. It's only like 50 square miles wide, and it's this island of just amazing fresh seafood. And when we go there, we like to be like a local. Obviously, we don't look like locals, but we get a local tour guide who takes us to his grandma's house to go have dinner. I mean, that's how close we get with these. And I said, I want you to stop at every barbecue joint along the way. And he goes, well, we don't really have barbecue restaurants. We have people with barbecue grills on the side of the road. I'm like, here's my germophobia again. I'm like, all right, what's the hygiene of this, right? So our second stop the first stop was good. It was like barbecue chicken and beans and rice and oh, there you go.
And the chicken's running right past the grill right before he makes it.
This thing was, the neck was snapped about 10 minutes ago. The second guy we pull up to, it's all seafood. It's all seafood smoked barbecue. And I told the guy, all right, I want to try everything. Just give me a plate of everything. And he goes, 1 minute, man. And the guy disappeared. Completely gone. I'm like, what happened? I look over the seawall and he's out swimming. And he's butt-ass naked. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, it's too hot, man. Give me 10 minutes. I'll come. He's cooling off. It's too hot. And he walks back and he goes, oh, I got too hot. I get overheated. I need to go jump in the water. But he's butt ass naked. So he's, serving my fish, right? And I'm like, I think I'll pass on that one. So we just kept going. But we always have a blast. I try to teach my kids culture, and I try to show them different parts. It's not just Burger King and McDonald's and fast food and DoorDash and stuff like that. Because, look, there's some amazing restaurants out in this world. There's some beautiful Michelin star restaurants. You have your James Beard award-winning chefs. But there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of restaurants that shouldn't even exist. And there's no flavor. There's no culture. There's nothing that stands behind what they make. So we endorse those restaurants, and we endorse those countries, and we endorse those little barbecue guys in different parts of the world that bring flavor and that bring culture. And that's what it's about. Is the Trompo King authentic? Is it the most authentic way to cook tacos al pastor or shawarma? No. And I get shit for that all the time. Like I put a post and that's not a Trompo. You're right, it's not. But you know what? It's the closest thing that I'm going to be able to bring off of the egg, off of any smoker that I'm using, to taste as close as possible until I go hit another real Trompo next time.
That's the key right there. You've made it accessible for every one of us backyard chefs to be able to try and create those authentic tastes in our backyard and try it. I wouldn't have been able to try to do a shawarma or an al pastor, if I didn't have that Trompo King to try it out. And that's what it's all about. Because you can go to those fine restaurants and get that sort of thing, but to make it in your backyard, no one would have a shot to even try it. I wouldn't have tried it if it wasn't for that. So I know I'm grateful, and I'm sure everybody that has one is grateful to be able to try that out.
Well, anybody could cook a steak now, right?
Of course.
Anybody. Look, you watch Mel and you go to the store and you go buy a steak and you throw it on, your Kamado style grill or your Traeger, or, it doesn't matter what you cook on, but you know how to make a steak now. Everybody knows how to make a steak. But when you stack 10 pounds of meat, thinly sliced, marinated for 2 days, and you put that on, I don't care if it's authentic as it would be in Mexico City or in Lebanon or anything like that, but you pull that off and you start slicing that thing and you start putting a naan bread or a taco or anything, and you put that together, hey, that's what it's about.
Mr. Mel?
Well, I'll give you the straight goods right now. You know me, I like to go big or go home. As soon as I was able to come up with this plan, with the Trumpo, with whatever, I looked at auction sites to buy a Donair cooker. Right? You got 3 big heat elements with a heat shield and a spinner, and I got that right on. So the cheapest I could get one is like $1,500 Canadian, give or take, whatever.
Right.
Now the reality sets in. I have to put 50 pounds of meat on this thing every time I turn it on.
Where's the problem?
Which sounds fine and great and all, except COVID, there's nobody to eat 50 pounds of meat, first of all, and I'm not running a Donair shop. I'm literally doing this for myself, which is why I will pull out the Trompo King. I'm just saying, like, it just makes sense, man.
And before I had the Trompo King, when I was trying to do other types of al pastor, there's ways that I was trying to cheat, and I've done it from just doing kebab or putting the al pastor meat on kebabs. I took 2 fire bricks and just set them on top of the grates, suspended the kebabs in between there so I could spin them that way, and that did okay, but it still wasn't right. And the Trompo King, one thing we should touch on is the proper way to make your Trompo. The first time I did it with the chicken gyro meat, I had it on there and I kind of would put it on like the back third, and I had all my chicken breasts laying like this. That did not work out very well because just the top 2 just kind of disrupted everything, and that was it. So I actually went out there and restacked it, put them on top of each other. When I did my al pastor, I used pork loin that I cut thin. I did a little bit of research on it, kind of just watching how they would make the big Trompos, where they would cut it super thin and just kind of stretch it over. Obviously, it wasn't that big, but I realized that as you're putting it on there, you would put it on and then stretch it down on its sides to kind of spread it out as best as you can as you're constructing your Trompo in order to keep the sides almost, exact. And that worked out really, really well. I mean, you had this beautiful just crispiness on the outside of the, Mel, I think I can share my screen again. You can get this beautiful, there we go, beautiful crispiness on the outside of the meat itself. And, with the 4-prong system, I had pineapple out there, and that pineapple was deadly. To me, proper pastor needs to have that pineapple with it. And it was great to be able to chop that up with it. But you just kind of shave off those crispy pieces, and that's exactly what my old pastor was missing, is you get those crispy edges off that where they just caramelize, and you add in that,
So I did a drunken pineapple. So I marinated the pineapple in añejo tequila, Don Sueños añejo tequila, overnight. Okay. Then I rolled it around in cinnamon sugar and brown sugar, and then I spiked it, and it was dynamite. I can't even explain how good this was. And the kids are like, "Oh, let me get some." I'm like, nah, I don't want it. Not tonight. But this thing was banging. It was so good. But real quick, getting back to the right way and wrong way of doing Trompo King, you won't find any instruction manual that comes with the Trompo King. You won't find a QR code that takes you to how to properly do it. I left it up to the world to decide how they want to cook. And I love watching everybody's posts, tag Trompo King as much as you can. I love watching everybody's creativity, because I don't want to dictate to anybody how to use it. I want you to, you skewer whatever, put whatever you want on the spike and be creative. It's about having fun. Barbecue is having fun. There should be no stress of what should you do, what should not do. It's trial and error. And you're supposed to have fun with it. It's not authentic. It's to have fun, and it's to enjoy and create. Because let me tell you something, when you bring that plate, that 13-inch pan on a spike full of meat into the house, and your buddies are there, and you're carving this thing down, that's better than a steak, in my opinion. Now, I love my steaks.
Oh, yeah.
But the presentation of that.
So it's interactive. It brings everybody at the table in. It is what it is. It's the whole night has been around building it, cooking it, bringing it to the table like a turkey, right? When you cut up the turkey and you dress it for everybody, it's much the same. I find, it's like an asado or whatever. It is just like that. I love it.
So the first time I cooked on a Trompo King was, it was 3 years ago. And I was at Brett Hundley's house, who was at the time the backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And he said, "Yeah, we're gonna have a few guys over and grill." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll be there." Brought the Trompo King over. I stacked it up with chicken. I think I did boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I just seasoned them lightly, and I made a bourbon chicken sauce. So as we're sitting there cooking it, I'm letting that kind of go on his Traeger, and the guys are filtering in. All of a sudden, I'm looking, and I'm like, all right, well, it's me and 15 Green Bay Packers sitting here watching the NBA Finals. The Trompo King finishes, or the chicken finishes. I bring it in. I prepared rice, so I put rice just right on the bottom around the actual meat that it was cooking on then. Took my sauce in my pan and just drizzled that bourbon chicken sauce over the top of it as it just came down, and hit it with parsley. Like, they just sat and just stared and watched it. I mean, we had Wagyu steaks and ribs and all this other stuff cooking, but that was just the presentation of it.
I remember that cook. I remember that cook because, believe it or not, I don't watch sports. I lived in Green Bay. I'm not a football fan. I know baseball from like 1986 to 1990 when I collected the baseball cards, but I'm not a sports fan at all. I mean, if you consider bowling online, or I watch bowling, which is if it's on TV, or I watch poker. To me, that's a sport. Mm-hmm. So I remember that you said you had a bunch of Green Bay Packers over. I'm like, I'm texting my business partner who's, a big football fan. I said, you know these guys, Lane Taylor and a couple other guys? And he goes, yeah, they're the Green Bay Packers. So I'm like, and I remember you pulled out this the Trompo King. You presented it beautifully on this big table in your house. This got to be 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap! This might actually be a company. This thing actually might take off. And here we are.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing that, of everything else, that they all kind of huddled around that and watched that. And, Brett Hundley still has that Trompo King.
Really?
Yeah. He's with him down in Arizona now.
There's another football player, I think. I just used his queso sauce, Stinking Green. I think it was from the Denver Broncos. He came out with this, like, I guess in Colorado you have instead of a chili, you have like a stinking green sauce or something like that. Okay. And it was on a couple of my posts. Sorry, I hear animals back there. He was on a couple of my.
Stick one on the Trumpo spike.
Yeah, I might have to. Well, I still have my collagen. That's still lit up.
Oh, that's.
You know what? This would be a great segue just for fun and games to mention that Lane Taylor will be on next Tuesday.
That's awesome.
Just saying, since we're talking about this, talking about Go Pack Go, Lane Taylor will be a guest on After the Cook next Tuesday.
Yeah, he will be on. I confirmed with him again this week. I know things are a little bit busy, but he confirmed that he's on and he is ready to go. He'll be on talking Packers, talking barbecue, and obviously with next week being the 22nd. Yep, 22nd. We'll have to touch on some holiday meal stuff too.
Yeah, that'll be decent
out there. He's awesome.
I got to tell you guys, I don't know if you noticed, but Uncle Mel's backed himself into a bit of a quarter here with the epic cook scenario. Let me tell you, it's been a bit of a nerve-wracking scenario here for the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Today I did a pulled pork. And pork shoulder, right? I also defrosted pork belly for a porchetta. I defrosted a brisket that's going to be pastrami. I defrosted a whole pork loin. I defrosted a Christmas ham. There's a lot of things in the works for old Uncle Mel here in the next week or so. Everyone's been very aggressive about heavy cooks. And seeing as I'm locked down in quarantine, I'm going to have to produce every single day. Again, every single day. So there's that. So is there anything you guys want to see? I do have a day or two open that I could fill. You want a donaire? A big dirty donaire? You know how many people messaged me about a donaire?
No.
The big dirty Donnie. I know. Okay. So for sure that's in. That's done.
No. You got to do the donaire style that we talked about.
Uh-oh.
Like the smash burger donaire?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too epic. It's the internet's not ready for you.
Yeah, I figured that.
The internet's not ready for you.
Oh.
It's not ready for you.
Okay. No, it's too sexy.
It's oh, buddy. Yeah, man, it's been crazy around here. It's been nuts. So one of the guys at my work tested positive, which puts me in a 14-day lockdown irregardless. You get your test results back, you're negative, whatever. You're still in a 14-day lockdown. So my 14-day lockdown, I don't have my Christmas shopping done. So now I have to result. Yeah, no, there's all kinds of shit that nobody thinks about, right? So today, for example, my wife got to meet my faux lady. She went down to Chinatown and picked me up, my faux, and she's like, that little lady was very rude and mean. I'm like, well, did you tip her? Well, yeah, I tipped her $4. I'm like, that's not how this works. First of all, you got to butter her up with some compliments and stuff, and then you got to you can't just go and pick the shit up. Like, there's a whole thing behind it. So, you know what I mean. Lockdown is not so good for Uncle Mel. I've got my things that I really like. And you send the wife in there, she's doing her best, but it's...
Mel, let me go to your pho real quick, okay? So I order my pho. We have some great pho down here in South Florida. Yeah. I get the fish ball. I get the beef tendon. I get the tripe. I put all the weird shit in that. And it stinks up the whole house, but it's so fantastic. I mean, that broth is sitting for, who knows, weeks on the stove. I don't know. But it is unbelievable. And I love that fish ball. Love the pho.
In my mind,
just can you gotta put the herbs in there.
In my mind, the mother broth. This is, and maybe this is like my Star Wars shit. In my mind, the mother broth of that pho shop. That mother broth is a 45-gallon oil drum that's been burning for 30 years.
Yep.
And they just top it up every day and throw more stuff in it, but it's been going for like 30 years. And that's how I like to think when I get my little package. This mother broth has been going since the place opened in 1987. So I love it. Like, I get food safety with us. We have to be food safe. We have to be blah, blah, blah. But then there's the old school aspect of it, where it's like people used to defrost turkeys on the counter. Yep. For like 150 years, people did that. You can't now because it's not safe, because there's a website that says that. But before that, people just did it, and it was fine. I don't know. Like, every day I come in contact, and I'm not saying don't do it, because there's a website that says don't, but every day I come in contact with all this crazy stuff that goes directly against what I was raised with. And what I was raised with was like farm mentality, which was there since the beginning of time.
Yep. Chickens left out all day, right? Grandma would leave the chicken out all day. And it wasn't until I was older, Grandma, what are you making? Salmonella soup? I mean, you got to refrigerate the chicken. She goes, no, it's fine. I've been doing it all my life. I get it.
She cooks it out.
Yeah.
Adds flavor.
But, my Bubba's 95 years old, and if she's making a good batch of burgers, she'll take a little scoop and put it in her mouth.
Always. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you probably shouldn't do that. You're elderly and whatnot. And she's like, what? It's going to take me now? It's never taken me for like 100 years. It's going to take me now? Well, how do you argue with that?
Actually, I saw a story on CNN today. Chris, I don't know. What is this cannibal sandwich that is apparently a big deal in Wisconsin?
It is. We just had this conversation with the nurses at the desk today as I was sitting there, because they're like, well, you have cannibal sandwiches, right? I'm like, no, I don't eat those.
No, warning, you guys aren't allowed to eat them.
Well, no, I don't eat them because
what is a cannibal sandwich?
It's they take rye bread, raw beef. Typically, a lot of people use ground beef for it, I guess, and raw onions on it. And sometimes they'll put capers, but usually that's just it, just the onions. And they eat that as a sandwich, and it's like, I'm like, my food aversion, one of two food aversions is raw onions and raw tomatoes. I don't do those. So I'm like, and it's funny that I say no to the cannibal sandwich based on the raw onions, not the raw beef.
Not the raw ground beef.
Right. I'm like, you know what? I've eaten tartare. I've eaten carpaccio. I mean, it's beef. Beef is different than, turkey or poultry or,
Well, it's the way the cattle's raised now in mass quantity, and it's processing that occurs. We're finding bacteria and things that shouldn't be in those animals.
Right.
That's because of the mass production. How many chickens are raised and slaughtered each year is in the billions. Yeah. And when you're processing 100 million chickens through a factory a year, there's going to be something floating around there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and I don't know where their beef comes from that they do this either. Yes, we obviously have a lot of cattle farms up in Wisconsin, and there's a fair amount of people that might raise, have a little hobby farm with 4 cows on it, and they just butcher their own cows, and that's theirs.
Yeah. And
I just think it is
imagine having a bottle of wine and tartar on their deck.
Yeah, well, they're drinking Boone's Farm and cannibal sandwiches.
Yeah, no, and that's where I'd be like, dish it up. We're done. This is
Right.
And this is the scary thing. I've been to local farmers, and I've had like marinated steaks before they've hit the grill,
Mm-hmm.
and I've eaten pieces of these steaks before they've even hit the grill, and I felt fine because of it. Like it whatever. I don't have tapeworms because of my spicy whatever. And because of things like this, I don't have tapeworms. There's no tapeworms. Nothing survives in this system. We're good.
In there.
This is
Right.
that's it. So I like to think I'm on the right track, right? So your steak tartare is a real thing, and it should be enjoyed if you know where your meat comes from.
And
It's
that's
a
just
tough one.
Beef Carpaccio too is another thing that I just absolutely love. I mean, you get a nice truffle olive oil on it, which I know you would love that, and you just peel it off, put that on a little piece of crunchy bread. But like, okay, you got to know where your meat's coming from. If you're going to cut, thinly sliced piece of meat and pound it out that's raw, who handled this? Where did this come from? I would maybe try it with a Snake River Farms cut. I would not try.
If I got a medium rare Big Mac, like, I've got a problem.
Right. I'm not
so there's that.
A Carpaccio or tartare from a steak I pick up at a convenience store that's been sitting there.
You got to know the source.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's interrupt real quick. I just got an update on the sales so far of the Polystrong temp gauge. Went live Friday night, and 51 have sold since Friday night. So great job, everyone.
Awesome.
Dude, it's
awesome. Yep.
I cannot stress how meaningful that is. And I actually, just while we were on, I got a message from Jer on my phone literally 2 minutes ago with a screenshot showing he just went and grabbed one also. So
awesome.
There's another one headed up to Canada.
Awesome.
I already have a shipping notice too. I'm gonna check that out. Let's see.
Well,
Monday morning.
And Jer, I do have to throw out, Jer actually has one of the original Trompo Kings as well. He's a sweetheart. He is a sweetheart. Yeah. Yeah,
so
love that, Jer.
I produced. So this is the original square one. This is the prototype. There's only 100 of them. He has one of the 100.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Before we went on to, and then we produced about 1,500 of the larger pans. We went from a 10 by 10 to a 12 by 12. And then we went to the round pan, the 13-inch round pan, and now we added handles and a nice laser engraving and really kicked it up a notch. And it's, a lot of people have a concern about the price. It's $100, but it's still hand turned. It's still hand machined, and it's 304 12-gauge commercial grade stainless steel. I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites. I get tagged in homemade Trompo Kings all the time. They're like, "Oh, look, I just saved $99," and they're using a coat hanger made with zinc, and they're feeding their family with zinc-coated paper towel holders and coat hangers and nuts and bolts that they bought from Home Depot to put this thing together. And I'm like, you just poisoned your whole family, idiot.
Yeah.
But
I know him as a welder, right? As someone who can whip something like that together relatively easy. The parts alone to build that, you're in that range already. Why wouldn't you just suck it up and support the person who built it? That's it. That's it. That's all. Like, sure, it's not a big deal to tack a nut to a plate, but you have to find the right plate. You have to find the right nut. You have to find the right pin. You have to have the right threading. You have to have the right taper. The whole thing. Just buy the fucking thing and quit trying to nickel and dime. Like, it is what it is.
It's 304 commercial grade stainless, and that's very expensive. And the price of steel went through the roof, and I've been able to keep the prices exactly where it's been for 3 years. And with the price of steel going up, and these are hand tooled. I haven't paid $50,000 for a 10-ton press that presses these things out. I'm not going to do that. I want them hand tooled and hand machined. When you get it in your hand, though, this thing's solid. This is lasting a lifetime. This isn't lasting.
That's the thing right there. You got to hold it and you feel it right away. I mean, now that Jared knows that he's got one of 100, I think it just wound up on eBay.
Right.
So he'll be coming up for a new one. But no, you're right. I mean, I got it out of the box last year for Christmas, and you feel it, and it's worth every penny. And to your point earlier about the look on people's faces, right? It's all about family and communal cooking and eating. The first day I brought it to the family, and the girls and my wife sitting there slicing the crispy edges off, right? Because my wife wants the crispy edge off of anything that is on my plate. She's going right for the crispy edge to take it off. And now I got an entire stack of crispiness for you right there. I didn't pay for it because it was a gift for me, but if I did, it was $100 well spent. But my sister-in-law bought it as a gift for me, so it was $100 well spent for her.
But you're getting 5 pounds of steel that's hand tooled. That's hand, it's all done by hand. It's hand polished. Like someone's sitting there polishing the fucking Trompo King, and I'm getting arguments why I could make this for $8, and then they post I made it for $8, and they just poisoned everybody who touched it because all the zinc leached through the meat. But
one of my favorite, like I'm a sucker for little details on things, right? So obviously I love the laser etch thing, and I think I have a picture of it. One of the pictures I posted this morning, you can see it perfectly right before I went in the Trompo King. And then of course my OCD says I need to scrub every little black thing off of that so it stays nice and shiny. So I bust out the barkeeper's friend. Most of it comes off, just from watching it. But then I bust out the barkeeper's friend. That's my OCD. But one of my favorite details is the 4-prong system, how that has little tabs that fit right in it, so it locks it in. So because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well, is there like a little nut that you have to tighten to keep them evenly spaced? But no, they just kind of fold right down into it. Little tabs just hold it in place, and it's perfect. It's those little details, those little things that make the big difference. And this is, if you look at it, you might think it's simple, but if you really look at it, you look closely at everything that's on there. Everything that's on there has a purpose.
Well, I'm a big fan of the unboxing. 50% of what I get is the unboxing, and it costs me a shit ton to make these black boxes with the flames coming out of it, and it says Trompo King, and you know what you're getting, and those are like $7 a box. And the unboxing is just important to me as, the quality. And going back to cleaning the Trompo King, I hate when my wife buys shit that I can't put in the dishwasher. This thing is dishwasher safe. Oh. You can just throw this right in the dishwasher. Now, whatever doesn't come off, my buddy Aaron Krause, I don't know if you know the name, but he invented Scrub Daddy. The little happy-face sponge. He's a good friend of mine, and he just came out with the Scrub Mommy. Yep, Shark Tank. So he came out with Scrub Mommy, and he's going to launch a line of barbecue cleaning things, hopefully soon. And he sent me the Scrub Mommy, and that Trompo King looked like it just came out of the box.
Okay.
So barkeeper's friend is great. Even if you just take a little bit of baking soda, sprinkle it on there, scrub it real quick, throw it in the dishwasher.
Yeah, that dishwasher's a great idea to do that.
Oh, I can't stand buying stuff that says not microwavable or not dishwasher safe or anything like that, because there's something in it, obviously, that shouldn't heat up, and I won't touch it.
Speaking of little details, Trompo King has one of my favorite accessories. Heat gloves.
The gloves. Those fucking gloves. And I told you about this, Noam. I've told you about this more times than not. I have went to hell and back in those gloves. Unbelievable. Unbelievable gloves.
tell you how many pairs of those I've been through. Not the Trompo ones, but other brands. Like there was one brand, and I'm not going to tell you what brands they were because I don't. This isn't to speak ill of any other company. But I grabbed a cast iron skillet off it, and it must have just been a little bit off, so where the rubber wasn't touching it, and it burned through both layers of gloves. The black outer layer, the white inner layer, and burned my hand. These Trompo gloves, reach in there, grab everything off, and I mean, they are the perfect heat-resistant gloves. So
Here's why.
who needs a little something for their stocking, wants a little something under their tree, you're currently celebrating Hanukkah, it's the best. I mean, that's also another, great investment for your hands because
the cut gloves come in the box too, right?
You could buy cut gloves if you want.
Yeah.
Let me just take to the story back why I never wanted to get into the heat glove business and I never wanted to get into the cut glove business. I just wanted to make happy food, just stuff that I like to make. So here's Pit Boss Gabe, and here's Rue on the queue. So Rue was 7 years old. Pit Boss Gabe was 9 years old. They want to cook. They want to be like Daddy. They want to learn how to use the Trompo King. They want to play with fire. They want to use not a flamethrower. Mama said, "Hell no! Oh no! The kids are not going near fire, and they're not going near knives." I'm like, how are they supposed to cook?
No.
How are they going to learn the skills that they need? So the birth of the first thing that came out was the heat glove. I did my research. I made sure this is fire retardant material. It's firefighter material. It's Kevlar inside. It's Nomex. I mean, again, they're $30, but you get what you pay for. So I got the best material that you could possibly can to protect. You see Pit Boss Gabe picking up coal. He's picking up Fogo charcoal that's lit in his hand, and that's for safety. The next thing we had is, Pit Boss Gabe. Here he goes, Daddy. I want to use the shun knives. I want to use this, 13-inch Japanese sword to cut the meat. Mama said, "Hell no," and I said, "Well, here we go. This is level 5. You could run a blade, put it on your hand, run a blade over it. You're fine." Now,
No, I'm gonna need a couple sets of those, just so you know. I almost cut my thumb off for this show, so just so we're clear here, I do need a cut resistant.
you got to tell
I
Robert.
have a nipple.
I don't think Robert
nipple on my thumb for the rest of my life. That's
you shave the tip. And hey, look, $20 for the cut gloves is going to save a lot more than a copay for the stitches.
Right.
But I don't think Dixon carries the cut gloves. I mean, if you want to call Robert and say, "Hey, we need some cut gloves," all good. If not, I'll ship you a pair. I'll be more than happy to do that.
done deal.
It doesn't.
Right
it's
on,
not,
man. Yeah.
It's not poke resistant. You can't move your hands if it's poke resistant, but you could run a blade. You run your shun, run your sharpest Dalstrong across it. You're fine.
Beauty.
If I'm getting stabbed, the gloves aren't going to help.
There you go. Right.
Yeah, I mean, both of those, like I said, great products, but I can't say enough about the heat gloves. I've tried probably 5 different brands that I've had, and they're perfect. They're heat resistant. The other thing is if you take them off quickly, the inner layer doesn't get separated from the outer layer. Like I've had that happen on quite a few different areas. So then you go to put it back on because something's ready to come off, and you're struggling, and it's just a mess. So I can't think about
stitching. That's all stitching in there. It holds together. Now, just a little sneak peek into our next glove that we're doing. We're actually extending so it covers your wrists.
It's perfect for using the walk.
Oh, the gauntlet. The gauntlet. Yep. I'm going to take those to work, Noam. I'm going to take those to fucking work is what I'm going to do. You'll see me welding in Trompos pretty soon. That's it.
So we're going to go almost to the elbow, on our long glove, and we're going to add that protection because when you're in there, if you're in a pit barrel or, the cotton gin and you're reaching in for that Trompo King, you have your outer arms exposed. So you got to learn the hard way, and we're going to extend that a little bit longer.
Even using the walk on the XL, because going from the walk on the XL to, from the large to the XL, there's this much more space. in between the
On
wok
fire.
and your outer rings, so the
Oh,
fire comes up and it gets hot. So as you're sitting in there for 10 minutes, this gets a little toasty. So that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So we have some more, Trompo King. It's not going to be called the Trompo King, but we are going to get more into the barbecue game, creating, inventing, innovating, partnering with individuals who have great ideas. Like I said, I have the tunnel paved now to make, to distribute, to do everything. So if someone has an idea that they want to pitch, I'll call it a pitch tank or Shark Tank style, but I'm not a shark. I could bring their idea to life very quickly and bring it to market with huge distribution if it works. And I really want to help other people who have these great ideas for barbecue and innovate. And maybe I'll get into maybe I'll build a smoker. Maybe I'll get into that arena. Maybe I'll compete with the big boys out there. I don't know yet. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm constantly thinking of different innovations because barbecue's been around since we were able to walk, since humankind has been able to walk on 2 feet. We've been barbecuing, and this is not the end. I think there's amazing products out there, and I think there's amazing grills and ways to cook, but this can't be it. There's more to this.
No,
there's more ways.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you look at the style of grills that are out there, and they all kind of stem from still ancient styles. I mean, they almost seem like the pellet grills and stuff like that. Kamado cookers have been around for hundreds of years. One of the bigger things that I think is going to be coming up, or at least something that's interesting me more, and I think Mel has a similar interest too, is a lot more of that live fire cooking, where you're just kind of harnessing different ways to be able to have the live fire cooking and different setups where you can have your fire over here, then rake the coals over to where you're cooking and kind of move stuff around like that. I think there's going to be an avenue for different styles of that live fire cooking.
And I don't care how you get there. I don't care how you make a burger, whether it's on, a pellet smoker or Kamado style or, your simple Weber. I'll be honest with you. In the back of my office, I have a big financial building here in South Florida, and I have barbecues in the back. I put my Weber back there. I put, I have some Oklahoma Joe. I have an offset smoker out there, and sometimes I'm in a suit and tie, and I'll have clients before COVID come into the office, and I'm out there barbecuing. That I just have such a passion for it, and we all have a passion for it. But there's got to be more. Mm-hmm. There has to be more, and there needs to be an Elon Musk of the world, or your Bill Gates of the world in barbecue, that's constantly innovating and doing things. And I'm not really seeing the newest innovations that are coming out. I'm seeing a bunch of gadgets, but I'm not seeing anything that adds to it. And maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe it needs to just go back to ancient times where, you're doing the live fire cooking. Maybe that's what it is. But I feel like there's still something missing.
I got an idea with a wire hanger that I use when I feed my family that we should talk about.
Right.
Is that interesting?
I feel like there's something in between the pellet smoker and the Kamado style and the the cotton gin or that style, the ugly drum. There's something in between that's missing.
Let me ask you a question. How does the Trompo King fare in a drum compared to like in a Kamado with the convection style?
Very similar. You get more heavy smoke in the drum versus in the Kamado style smoker, but you don't need to spin it. Everybody's like, you got to spin it. No, you don't. You have 360 degrees of heat no matter which way you do it. You're cooking fine. But I think I get a little bit more smoke out of the gin or the barrel style smoker, and I got to say it's a fantastic way. I have a pit barrel. I have I have so many back here. It's not like Ron. Ron has like an arsenal. But there's so many different ways and styles that I like to cook, and it just depends on what it is. I'll pull out the wok. I'll pull out the Trompo King. I'll do different things, but I still feel there's something missing. So if someone has that innovation, find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook. Let's collaborate on something together, and I can get it to market. I know there's plenty of ideas out there.
I am going to say right now, the Trumpo ring, I hope to be the first to hang 24 lollipop chickens off of it.
That's going to be cool.
As soon as I saw it right away. As soon as I saw it right away, the first thing I thought of was lollipop chickens on
That's
hooks, hanging and smoking. It would be fantastic. Like, it was just, you know me, right? Like, I want to do a Peking duck on it. I'll hang it across a big duck. There you go. But right off the bat, lollipop chickens on that ring. It'll be like a carnival swing, right? Like,
Right,
it just makes sense.
You put that on the table and you let people pluck their own drumstick, you're good to go.
You're done. That's it.
I love vertical cooking. I like the barrel style cooking where you hook the meat in and you let it hang and, it drips over the fire. It hits the pan. The smoke comes back out. Now, we were supposed to have those, but again, because of COVID, all the shipping is all crazy, all screwed up. Yeah. And those were supposed to be live last week, and I think now we're looking at like the first week in January.
Yeah, COVID's been a real mother effer around here, let me tell you. So
sure. We ran out of Trompo Kings in May after Father's Day. That we were wiped out, and I couldn't get shipments in for 2 months. We were 8-9 weeks without Trompo Kings, and
Wow.
You should have seen Amazon. I think there's 14 or 15 knockoffs now.
Yep.
That half the price, but you're getting a tenth of what you do. I mean, you just go to Amazon, you'll see a ton of them on there. Which, hey, good for them. Let them capitalize on it. No problem. I was out, but they started cringing. Trompo King's trademark, Stack Your Meat's trademark, and they start going on that, and then I have a little problem. But other than that, I don't mind people making money.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is, man. It's I don't know. We've seen this with the charcoal market too, right? People are capitalizing on shortages. It is what it is, but people don't forget. People know the founders. People know, the movers and the shakers, the people that are connected to the community, right? And doing things in the community, and that's the big thing. Like, there's knockoffs, and then there's the real thing. It is what it is.
Well, I appreciate that. But, I saw Mexican-style street food as a big trend coming in. That's why, the Trompo King, I feel, is very successful because of the trend. Do you know what I see the next trend being in terms of street food? Vietnamese street food. The banh mi sandwiches, the pho, the different ways of I love Vietnamese food. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And there's what is it, Bachins? I'm probably not saying that the correct pronunciation, but that Bachins teriyaki sauce that they love.
Yes.
It has like a hint of ginger and soy and teriyaki, and that's the next wave. When
I saw the first Vietnamese Cajun fusion, I was like, that's going to take over the world. That is like, there's nothing stopping that.
Right.
If Cajun Vietnamese food got up to Canada, like, there's nothing to hold it back. It would be like free reign. We're knocking everybody else out. It's crazy. Because that's two heads of a dragon that you haven't seen. You don't know anything about. And for them to collide together and also like, it's crazy. Like, it's, yeah.
I love it.
Picturing you doing like a Vietnamese gator.
Yes. No, that's what I mean. Right? When they start throwing crawfish in there with your pho, and you're like, well, what do you do? Suck the head and then you eat the tail? Yeah, that's exactly
Bring
what
it.
you do. And they're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And they're like, yeah, this has been around forever.
Right.
Oh.
Asian fusion was a very big deal, years ago. Restaurants were Asian fusion, and then you add sushi to it. And that whole genre got lost. And then you bring in Vietnamese food with the fresh basil, the fresh cilantro, the jalapeno, the raw jalapenos, and then you throw that in your pho, and then you add the fish ball and the tripe and the tendon, and you get the a mouthful of all these different flavors. And then they make the banh mi sandwiches, and then you have, different sauces, and you have everything together. That's the next trend. I mean, it's all going back to the basics. COVID really, it's killed a lot of people. This is a horrific pandemic, but it's also brought innovation. You're going to see some amazing things that really come out of this. You're going to see new style. This is taking care of the restaurants that don't deserve to be open. The ones that stick around are the ones that deserve to stay here. The little crappy restaurant that charges you $30 for a pizza that tastes like shit, gone. I don't care. Goodbye.
Yep. Yeah, no. And and I don't want to get into that, and we're not going to dip into that, but that is 100% what you just said is 100% fact. If you were dishing bullshit before, people have sniffed out your bullshit at this point, and you're out the fucking door.
Right.
That's
and
it. The standalones of people, the people with their whole heart into their company, they're going to make it.
Right.
The people that were just 50-50 or less, well, you're probably not going to survive this thing. And that's 100%. I'm on board with that. And it sucks, and I hate it.
Plate for $17. You're selling $17 plates of bullshit. I bring my family of 4, and I'm there $120, and I'm leaving going, what was that?
Oh,
I feel bad. Look, they probably poured their life savings into this, and I feel truly, truly bad. But you didn't put enough heart and soul into this thing to make it.
Right. Yeah. Right. And then also, going off of what you said too, is I think when we come on the other side of this, we're going to see a lot of different things where there was, opportunity where people weren't working and they had time to sit at home and create, from the culinary aspect, hopefully we see this from some of the creative aspects too, where we'll see people, musicians, showrunners, writers, where they come up with all this great content that they aren't able to get out during the COVID times. Hopefully we'll be flooded with all of that and just kind of not necessarily get a reset, but kind of
you're gonna get a second chance.
Look, exactly, that's a good way to put
it. The stock boy who has been stocking at a Walmart for the last 15 years is in his kitchen right now creating something amazing, and that's our next James Beard Award winner. That's the next restaurateur. That's the next wave of, I hate using the word wave because they use it so derogatory, but that's the next generation that's coming up. We're going to see some really, truly amazing things that come out of this, and the innovation and the food style. Like I said, we're foodies. We love tasting international food, different foods, not just your, trust me, I'll crush hamburgers all day long. Cheeseburgers are, my go-to. I'll throw some Italian sausages on there, hot dogs. I'm good with that. But, I want to try and keep exploring. Ethiopian food, you'd never think how amazing and how flavorful Ethiopian food is. Super flavorful. And then you have your mufungo, and you have, your ceviche and different things of the world. But that guy's in there right now who was a stock boy at Walmart, working his ass off in his own kitchen, coming up with something amazing. And that restaurant is going to be phenomenal.
You hit the nail right on the head, Noam. I think that, when I think back to pre-COVID, I'm in the backyard throwing on, burgers, throwing on a steak, throwing on brisket. And COVID has given us the ability and forced us to some degree, right? We were on lockdown here in New York, wasn't able to order, from our local Chinese food restaurants or from our Indian restaurants or any of the ethnic restaurants that I like to order from. So I had to learn to go and do that on my own, right? So now I go from being the guy in the backyard, smash burgers and smashing away and doing that, to now having my daughter sitting by my side, sitting there firing up a wok, trying to figure out how am I going to emulate this Panda Express orange chicken and broccoli and make a good, ethnic dish to bring into the house, or doing Indian food. And it's things I never thought I'd be in the backyard doing. And now, my kids and I are back there creating and bringing in different flavors than we would typically be bringing into the house.
And then you have Captain Ron, who makes a watermelon pizza.
And it screws up the whole thing.
But don't even bring that shit in here. I have fucking dealt with this fucking watermelon shit for long enough. Don't even bring that into my house. That's it.
But
Ron, it sucks. Quit pushing it. It sucks. Nobody
You
likes
didn't
it.
get the balsamic glaze right then, Mel.
Do
Some things
something.
are better low.
But what I
I
did,
ate a watermelon pizza covered in octopus while I was out in the mountains.
Yes.
I was
remember.
out in God's country doing everything, and Ron was like, "Why don't you support me?" And I was like, "What? I support everything you do." He's like, "Why are you avoiding this watermelon conversation?" I'm like, "'Cause it sucks. It sucks real bad." And I didn't want to be the one to say that to him. But of course, you all kept feeding the pandemic, and now I have to be the one to deal the real cards. So I
But we
dealt the
all
real
put our
cards, and I
family's
said,
faith on-
Ron, it sucked. It sucked, Ron. But I ate an octopus barbecue pizza on the deck. It sucked so bad. It was so horrible. And
So-
you know what? To this day, everyone is still like, look at my watermelon feta cheese with Asiago and this and that. And I'm like, I can't even get into He knows. He
I
won.
bought a watermelon.
No, this is he won. He won.
I bought a watermelon to go try this. So I had a watermelon sitting on the counter in the kitchen, and Gabe comes and he goes, "Dad, I want some watermelon. It looks really good." So what I did is I took half the watermelon, I hollowed it out. He ate the watermelon. I left the hollowed out part. And I said, I don't think I could do this pizza. I'm going to try. I don't think I could do it. And then Seth comes downstairs and he's like, "Dad, I want some watermelon." I scooped him out the other side of the watermelon. So now I'm left with a hollow, just the rind, the outside. So instead of wrapping my beef ribs, I stuck it on the Trompo King. I put the watermelon rind on the bottom, threw my ribs in it, put the cap on, threw on some Five Monkeys barbecue sauce. I got to say, there was some innovation in that. It looked like shit, but it tastes so good. I even posted it. I stacked it on the Trompo King. And, it had a little bit of sweetness from the watermelon, but it worked. It actually worked. And there's some poor schmuck out there right now that's, in his kitchen trying some weird shit, and something's going to pop and something's going to come up. It's going to be good. There's going to be new spices. There's going to be new things that we discover.
No, and that's I'm not being closed-minded. I'm being this standoffish just because it's Ron.
It's for fun. I know.
Yeah, no, that's it. We actually went head-to-head. That was my Mel's beer corn time. So Mel's beer corn was going kind of head-to-head with Ron's, whatever it was, pineapple, chicken, pizza, yeah. It sucked. Whatever it was, it sucked. The watermelon pizza, it was what it was. But Mel's beer corn was better. Mel's beer corn was way better. But still, these innovations, sometimes they seem silly, sometimes they take off.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
that's what we have to focus on, is that everybody, whoever you are, whether you're cooking on a Traeger or a Pit Boss or a Cotton, whether you're cooking on a Trompo or you're cooking on a skewer or you're cooking on whatever, one of you guys will come up with a thing. And that thing might change the game. And I support whatever the fuck you're doing. Because one of you, it's going to work. And I'm all about long shots. I'm all about long odds. I can't wait to see what you guys do. Because one of you is going to come up with something that changes how we do our daily shit. And that's huge for me. Because I've cooked a million briskets. A million different ways. I can't wait for a day that someone can teach me a new way to do it.
Agreed.
Yeah, those limits in order to innovate.
That's it. That's it. Like smash burgers, show me a new way to do something. You do it on, I don't care what you do it with. Show me a new way to do something, and I am grateful. Forever grateful. And I totally support anybody doing anything like that. Because it's awesome. And how else are we going to learn? How else are we going to grow?
I wanted to get into something real quick. Nobody really sees the time. Mel, you put a lot of time and effort into your videos. So does Paul. So, Chris, you do the same. And especially working with kids. How many takes? Jules might be spot on. But sometimes with Seth, I have to do 15, 20, 30 takes And we're 2 hours into a 5-minute segment, you know, on a video. And unless you're in there editing that video, you know, Gabe actually edits his own videos. I learned from him how to edit the videos. I could be 3-4 hours working on a 40-second clip. And it's a lot of work. I mean, Mel, you're running, you know, Instagram and Facebook and live and doing this. The time and amount of effort, although I love it and everybody has a passion for it, but until you get in there and you start doing the videos, because I see a lot of people critiquing a 12-year-old. I'm like, he's 12, he edited his own video, and he actually did his own cook. It wasn't me coaching him. And you got to see some of these outtakes too, you know, but unless you're in the trenches and actually doing it, you know, you don't realize how much time and effort just for one video.
Yeah. I learned with Jules, it was all about anytime I've ever given her anything scripted or been like, do this, she's like, no, Dad, no, I got this. And all the takes that I've scripted or I've given her, you know, some ideas of what to say, that all gets scrapped and we wind up just using whatever comes out of her mouth at the time that we're cooking something. And it's golden, you know, but those are memories too that, you know, you're gonna look at with Gabe and Seth years down the road and have those outtakes and have those ones that, you know, went viral. And
there's some outtakes that I can't even put on social media. Like Gabe got his first box of steaks from a company and they said, hey Gabe, do you mind just cooking with these? And we're cooking and it's hot. I mean, it's 114 degrees outside and we're dripping and sweating. I'm like, you did it wrong. You know, so I write it on a little chalkboard for him. This is the name of the company that gave you the steaks. And he's starting to cook again. And he looks up and he goes, who the fuck steaks are these? What are you talking about? Why do I have to say his fucking name? And he kept going on and on and on. And I have this. And I have a little clip that I released and my wife's like, no, we can't. People are going to think we're bad parents. But 22 takes for him to say this company's name. And he's like, I had it. He threw the steak, and you see the jungle behind me? He just lobbed the whole steak back there. He's like, fuck it. I'm done.
I tell you right now, and the reason why you don't see my kid, my beautiful daughter, Emily, the reason why you don't see her on video is because I'm pretty sure she is the incarnate of Tony Soprano already. Like if things don't go her way in like a minute, she's gonna whip that spatula right out of the seed, right? So I'm like, and she wants to be part of this. She does want to do stuff and do things, but she's got my temper, but she doesn't have my filter. You know what I mean? So how bad would that be if I'm live with Big Green Egg and she's like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, fuck this. Like, oh, no. You're 6 years of... Shh. We don't...
I love it.
You know, it's and it's not that we condone that or anything, but she has no... She's my kid. Nope. She has no filter. She's all hard right now, but in a little person. So it is what it is. I love and respect her for it, but I have to like keep my distance with her in like the public.
Well, the first video reaction when Mel comes home from a long day at work and he comes in the backyard and she's got the egg fired up and she's making watermelon pizza for her friends.
I told you this day would come, sweetie. It's not good. It's not good. Oh, Ron, I love it.
But I've been able to channel my anxiety, you know, my stresses from work. And I'm not saying I take it out on the barbecue, but it's therapy. This is therapy for me.
Yes.
And I think, you know, Trompo King was going to be another headache, another company I'm running, another business. You know, I have multiple companies that I run. And once you turn it into a business, but it's actually been awesome. I mean, the barbecue community, you guys, and everybody out there has been so supportive and really embraced, you know, something unique, something different to put on your grill. And, you know, for the haters out there, haters going to hate, you know, no matter what. But, you know, the true barbecue family, you know, we're going to do for each other. We're going to support each other. And you guys are amazing. You know, the three of you here and plus who's watching and everybody that we've come in contact with, you know, generally been super supportive. and just great people, just awesome people. And I think eventually one day barbecue is going to create world peace. If we could all sit down at a table and break bread and have barbecue,
Yep.
How can you fight for that?
It's a start, that's for sure.
Yep.
You ever see a
100%.
fight at a barbecue joint? Never.
Well,
Yep.
Never.
Nope. It's it's funny you say that. So out front of one of our clubs, when I was a child, when I was a child, and I used to go to this big club, partying like crazy. There was this Ukrainian that run this tiny little sausage cart, and he would park it right out front the doors. And now there's cops with squad cars that are waiting for fights to billow out of this club all the time. But then you got this guy that's pushing Kubasol with fresh sauerkraut and whatever. And you'd see these guys that are spilling out into the streets ready to fight, but then they look up and they're like, oh shit, Frankie's Hot Dogs is back. And then you'd see these guys that were about to fight standing there with like 12-inch hot dogs in their mouth, like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, that was...
you know
and that's
what?
all it took, was just...
That's
I think that's what we need. More barbecue, more peace, more love, and we're there. Like I said, I've never, I've been to a lot of barbecue joints. I've never seen a fight.
And maybe that's the secret.
Extra sauce, good sauce, not that garbage sauce with high fructose corn syrup. I'm talking about someone who took care and time and energy and invested in himself or herself to create something that's fantastic.
What's your go-to style of barbecue? We'll say for something like pork. For pulled pork, what's your go-to style of barbecue sauce?
Five Monkeys all the way.
Okay.
Got to be a little bold. Got to be a little bold and got to be a little thick. That's on my pulled pork. Now, I'm a sucker for that white barbecue sauce. Thunderbird. He makes that white sauce fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. But I'm a big sucker for Five Monkeys. They are, I don't know, there's something special. Maybe it's the anchovy they put in it. Maybe you pick up a little bit on that Asian flavor, that palate, they salt it with the anchovy. I think there's anchovy in there, some kind of fish. That really gives that unique flavor. And that's, something that I really enjoy. And out in Long Beach, Bone Cleaner sauce. I don't know if you ever heard of her. She is Kat. She's awesome. She Sniffing Griffin's Barbecue, which is Warren G. The old rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She's out there and she started from scratch, and I give her a lot of props where she's at now. But she makes this peach habanero sauce that is unreal. That is so good.
That's all. I know the guy that helped Warren get into that. He's up in my neck of the woods actually, and he's like an award-winning sauce master. It was pretty cool because Warren came out to the mountains one time just for some little, and I was like, what? He was like 2 hours away and you didn't tell me. He's like, yeah, it was a quiet party. I didn't want to and I'm like, oh man, like really with the regulator? Are you serious?
Yeah.
No.
But the dude is on top of his game, man. That is Sniffing Griffin. That's huge, man. That's wicked. He's got his shit figured out.
Yeah, no, he has
pretty cool. It's pretty cool too when someone can have like 1 million followers and then be like, yeah, but I'm doing this little barbecue thing over here.
Right.
And this is where my heart's at. Right? And then build it from scratch, which he did. He built that from nothing. Awesome. Super awesome.
Yeah, I give a lot of respect to people that start from nothing. They hustle the way up, and we're not seeing enough of that in this world. Not enough go get.
Well, that's for me. Like I'm always up against these massive titans of Instagram, for example, right? You've got the Derek Wolfs of the world that are sitting at 1 million followers, and you put up one post with like 2 pictures, and you got 12K followers and however many comments, and like, it's crazy. And you're just trying to cut out this little piece for yourself, but it's literally like throwing a pebble in a pond. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but you keep doing it. And that's where I learned my shit, was I just kept resonating and doing my own vibe of things. And I just kept being there and shaking it, and it caught on. And that was the trick, was to just be patient, be positive, and be there. And show people things that they want to see. That was the trick. Not talk at them, but talk with them.
You know, you could have the worst.
That was the hook for me.
But I'll turn on Instagram. You know, I'm having a bad day at work or whatever, lost a case, you know, whatever it might be, and I'll see little Jules, or I'll see you, Mel. You know, there you are in your robe. Hey, you know, fire in the hole. And you know what? That turns my day around. It really does. You know, all the barbecue community. I just turn on Instagram or Facebook and see you guys on there, and it's like, you know what? I get to go home and I get to barbecue. How cool is that? And you know what? You guys come up with great ideas. And, you know, one of my kids will say, look what Mel did, or look what Paul did, or, you know, look what Chris just cooked. Why can't we do that? I'm like, sure, go grab it. Let's go. We're in.
It's funny because that's exactly when we saw you and Gabe do those tiger shrimp from Meat and Bone. Jules and I watched that together. And she's like, well, we can order that. I was like, you know what? We're going to order that. And I went right on the website, ordered those tiger shrimp, and, you know, we did it right that weekend.
Like, Gabe goes and runs to his room and gets the, you know, school ruler. And he's, you know, these are 12-inch shrimp. I've never seen anything like this in the world. And we're trying to look on Instagram or YouTube, or, you know, there's only one other video with these jumbo, gigantic shrimp. You know, how do we cook these things? And what do we do? And is that the brains in the middle when we took it out? I ate the whole thing. I don't know. I'm if it's cooked, I'm good.
Did you suck the head?
Absolutely. Come on now.
Yes, that's it right there. Now. Did you suck the head? Because you got to suck. Oh,
look, I have Japanese friends. You know, my wife's best friend's Japanese, and you know they have. I don't know if you ever seen the video where I said Japanese villagers eat American barbecue for the first time. It's on my YouTube. And I have 3 guys from Japan that have never had American barbecue before. Like, I'm making them a smash burger, and they're mind blown. They've never had pork ribs. They never had Kansas or St. Louis ribs, because in Japan it's so expensive. Wagyu beef is cheap there. Yeah. But for them to get a slab of ribs, they said, is over $100. So they don't touch it. So here I have Japanese villagers, you know, trying it out. But yeah, they showed me when I was cooking the shrimp. They're sitting there eating the whole fucking head. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I have mine taken off, and I have a plate full of shrimp heads, and they're eating it. They're like, this is snack, you know? So I'm like, all right. You know, so I tried it, and, you know, it's not the worst thing, but just not accustomed to it. But I love traditions. I love different cultures. I absolutely embrace, you know, anything that I could try, and I enjoy it, and someone put hard, you know, time and effort into it, I'm down.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Oh.
All right, it's 10 after 11. I gotta start going in a few, but I wanted to thank everybody. This has been great.
Yeah, awesome. I apologize. I didn't mean to head to the whole thing, but I just wanted to thank you.
No, I'm glad
for having me, and thank you, Noam, for everything, brother. Everything.
No, my pleasure. You don't have to thank me. There's more to come. You know, we're going to do amazing things. All of us, we're going to do amazing things together. And I just can't wait for this pandemic to be over and we could go do our thing.
Yep. 100%, man.
It's going to be fun.
And Mel, if you've got, apparently you're going to have a lot of extra food on your hands over the next, what do you got, 12 days left or whatever. You know, if any of that stuff ships, I'll give you my FedEx number.
I'm not even lying. While we did this show, the wife went to Canadian Tire and picked up a new vacuum sealer.
There you go.
That's where I'm at. This entire 10 or 14 days left that I have, I needed a new vacuum sealer just to survive this thing, man. I'm cleaning the deep freeze. I'm cleaning the deep freeze. I'm turning it into a thing. I'm sharing it with people. It's all positive, and it all needs to happen. And in COVID, it is what it is. But, like, how insane is this? That I am locked in my house until Christmas Eve. Like, this isn't a publicity stunt. This is a real thing. I am locked in my house until Christmas Eve.
Wow.
It's nuts, man. So, yeah, one of the guys at work I came in contact with, who I work with, tested positive. So the government, now, $1,000 a fine if you get caught outside of your property.
But
I can't even go pick up
have to worry about sharing your food. People will still be knocking, I'm sure, proud to grab it from you.
I can't even have people come to the house. So it's a double negative every way I turn. Right up until Christmas Eve, I'm screwed. There is nothing I'm in a stalemate every which way you cut it. I can't go Christmas shopping.
And potentially, if we did that here in the United States, it might have slowed it down or, got rid of it. I don't know, but I can tell you that people that test positive are out in the street walking around, no mask, no care in the world.
Yeah.
No, not up here, man. Up here, this is no joke. When you have it, when you are coming close, like they lock down, they hunker down. I'm done. The family, they're done too. Everybody's sheltered now, right now. It's crazy. It's a crazy time. It sucks. Christmas holidays, whatever. I've got pastrami brisket. I've got porchetta. I've got, it's stupid. The amount of cooks that I have in the next 10 days are going to be just retarded. It's going to be...
Think of the number of people that you're going to be influencing over the next 10 days with some of these crazy cooks, and that's got to warm the heart a little bit.
That's what I mean. It was kind of picturesque how this panned out. Because at the same time, I had messages about almost all of this stuff. And I was like, literally, I'm locked down and have to do all of these cooks now that I'm getting messages about right before the holidays. It all just made sense. It all made sense. But that being said, my freezer will be full of whole cooked meals for foreseeable future.
Mel's going to stuff a chicken inside of a brisket, inside of a pork, inside of a cow. I know that's going to happen.
Put it on the Trumpo.
That's
on the Trumpo.
Yeah. That's it.
I think it's Mel's turn to try something new and to push some limits. So I'm looking forward to what the next 9 days brings our way out of Mel's grill.
As we close down, Chris, you can better believe I'll come up with something.
Okay. I still want to see that smash burger.
Yeah. That's tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Stay safe, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Thank you,
everyone.
Coming
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, everyone.
Right on, guys. Love you. Thank you for coming.
Ooh. Covered a lot there.
Woo! Yeah, that was a big show. Big show.
What an awesome story on how the Trompo King came to be, how we got the El Pastor recipe for $50. I mean, that's fantastic. And then Gabe coming up with the Euro seasoning in 2 hours. What a
yeah, it's yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy time, crazy things. Everything is just
it's a lot. It's heavy.
Everything's heavy. Everything has so much weight to it. I just want to get through this year. I just want to hit the finish line. You know what I mean? I don't even care. I just want to hit 2021. I made it. That's it. It's So we got a big announcement for next week, right? We got Lane Taylor.
Oh, we got Lane. Yep, he'll be here. He'll be. He told me he was going to be making sure that he cleaned up his bar area in the basement, and he's got a really sweet bar area in the basement. It's pretty awesome. He's got all of his jerseys from years of the Packers, his Oklahoma State jerseys framed. He's got a nice little projector, but he's got a decent bourbon collection too. He's got some. He likes the brown water too, so he'll bring it next week. And he was pretty jacked up when I told him, what all the different stuff we wanted to talk about. That we'll touch. We'll touch a little bit on the Packers. We'll touch a little bit on his barbecue, where it started from, but then also just talking about kind of some of our holiday cooks, and I think that'll be a fun option to touch on too.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait, man. That's going to be
wicked. So we'll have that. We'll have a recap of Mel's next 7 cooks, as he's 2 days out from being free, so I'm sure he'll have some stories.
The pastrami. Can't wait for the pastrami. I'm so excited about pastrami.
When is that going to get smoked?
7 days from now.
Oh, that's convenient.
So the day before Christmas Eve, I think. Something like that. I also have for Christmas Eve, I have a prime rib roast, but it's going to be stupid. I actually just bought a new I bought a new rotisserie just to fit it.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that as a teaser.
I have a Joe-tisserie that's about this big now. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, about this big. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not a Joe-tisserie, it's a Mel-tisserie. Yeah. That's
All right. Well, we'll try to maybe get some pictures of that up next week. Now that we kind of figured out this little bit on how to get some pictures up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Right
that
on.
Sounds good. All right, my man. I need some sleep.
Have a good one.
Stay safe, stay sane, and good luck to your wife.
Beauty, man. Amen to that. Have a good one.
All right, we'll see you, Mel.
Bye-bye.